It's kind of interesting that you hear Obama and the Democrats talk about how expensive college is getting and that families can't afford to send their kids to college. Well, at the same time, they're scheming in back rooms and dark alleys and in hallways and on Capitol Hill to take more money out of that struggling family's pocket call it a tax or a fee or a surcharge. Folks, you don't understand how many taxes are going to come up and bite you in the ass come January 1 because of Obamacare. And they're hitting the middle class. Obama can stand there and say, yeah, those rich people, they need to pay more in taxes. Let me tell you something. Most of the taxes in Obamacare are going to hit and designed to hit the middle class. You! I mean, can you believe? Now, look, there is this thing about people earning, couples earning $250,000 or more as being rich or wealthy and can afford to pay more. Here's a dirty little secret behind that. And this is in the Obamacare law. This is not theory. This is law. And it's law because the IRS has just published today, what was it, like 100 pages of new rules to take effect immediately on January 1. It's called a dividend a surcharge. Oh, yeah. A little over 3%. Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, who cares, Rod? It's a dividend. No. Pay attention. Follow me for a second here, because this is going to hit you middle-class people the hardest. Especially you middle-class people who are trying to be responsible enough to save for your own rainy day, for your own children's education, and your own retirement. If you're thinking that it's a good idea to set money aside so you don't have to have a car payment, you better think twice. Because this 3% is going to hit you, I don't care how much money you make. If, for an example, if you make $100,000 a year, let's say you make $150,000 a year. No, that's not rich, is it? No, it's not rich. In many communities, it's upper middle class. In some communities, it's the lower class because of the cost of living. But in most communities, it's upper middle class. It's definitely not $150,000. Definitely not wealthy. Well, let's say that you and your partner earn $150,000, but you've also been very prudent. You've invested in stocks for a long time, and now you have you've got quite a large portfolio of stocks that pay you dividends every year, and those dividends add up to be, say, $110,000. Well, you think that because you only earn $150,000, that you're not subject to this so-called rich tax. No. You're now over $250,000. Your dividends are now going to be subject to an additional 3% tax. Plus, with the Bush tax cuts being called off, your dividend tax is going to go from 15 to 20 or 25% before the Bush tax cuts. It's going to go back up to that rate, plus an additional 3%. Ooh, aren't you the lucky one for being smart and investing properly? And, a lot of people, they take the dividends, they don't spend it until they retire, they reinvest it in more stock. Well, no. You've got to pay that as a tax. And remember, all of that investment, unless it's in a 401k or some other government-approved pre-tax plan, is post-tax or otherwise known as after-tax income. You bought all that stock. You bought all those bonds or what have you, those investment vehicles with after-tax dollars. Now, you're already behind the eight ball because now you're investing in not your full amount that you've earned, but only a partial amount because you've already been taxed on it. Now they're going to come and tax what the tax money made you. It's as bad as living in the state of New York and having to pay a sales tax every time a car is sold. I know some people don't understand this. In New York State, you buy a new car. You pay sales tax in that new car. You figure, well, yeah, you got to do that everywhere that has sales tax. Great, And then you sell that car to your neighbor. Your neighbor goes to register it. Your neighbor's got to pay sales tax. Let's say then your neighbor decides, well, I'm going to sell it to the kid down the street. Then that kid, when he goes to register the vehicle, he's got to pay the sales tax. And then when the kid decides that he's driven the car into the ground in the dirt and he can't drive it anymore, and he finds some 16-year-old with his first car who wants to buy a fixer-up. He buys this car for $500 even, maybe even $100. He goes to the DMV to register it, and he's got to pay sales tax. The car's already had the tax paid on it once. And that's the same with any used, did you know that in New York State, if you have a yard sale or a tag sale or a garage sale, did you know that you're supposed to submit sales tax? You're supposed to charge people who buy your junk sales tax and then submit it. Now, most of the time, the state isn't going to bother with anybody trying to come after anybody because how much revenue are they really going to get? It's going to cost them more to come after you to get it, to collect it, than it is just to let it go. But legally speaking, did you know that if you live in the state of Massachusetts, and if you come across the border into New Hampshire, and you purchase something in New Hampshire, that you're supposed to remit to the Massachusetts Department of Treasury or Revenue, whatever it is, the sales tax that you didn't pay in Massachusetts on that. Now, New Hampshire doesn't have a sales tax. People come across the border all the time. If you buy, let's just say a $500 refrigerator, and you take that refrigerator home from Home Depot, did you know that in Massachusetts you are legally obligated to remit the sales tax to the state? Now, again, the state isn't going to come after you because, one, it's going to be hard to prove how much you actually spend out of state, and it's going to cost them more to pursue most of these claims. Now, they do go after some people who seem to buy an awful lot of stuff. But for 99.9% of the population of Massachusetts, it's going to cost the state too much to collect it. And it's really ridiculous. They know it's ridiculous. That's why they don't go after people. But it's stuff that's already the taxes. See, we're taxed all the time. And then they want to make sure that, you're taxed when you die. Don't die. Well, you got to die. You're going to die. So then you're taxed when you die. You are taxed when you die. Did you know if you buy a casket in most states with sales tax, oh yeah, the casket is taxed. In some states where they have a sales tax, well, they tax a service. Well, a funeral is a service. You pay a tax on that. Then your heirs have got to make sure that your estate pays its estate taxes. I'm surprised they don't tax a birth yet. Well, look, if they ever want to really limit the population, there's probably going to be a birth tax, so abortions will be tax-free. Who knows? We could, since abortion is legal, we should probably tax abortion. That would help cut our deficit. At the rate that we have abortions in this country nowadays, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Oh, but that would hit the poor the most. Oh, that's okay. Just have the rich pay the tax. Well, the rich should be happy that people, this is just crazy. Tax. Everywhere you look, there's a freaking tax. If it's not a tax at the federal level, it's a tax at the state level. If it's not a tax at the state level, it's a tax at the county level. If it's not a tax at the county level, then it's a tax at the local or municipal level. I mean, you're taxed 4 ways to Sunday, for crying out loud. And people wonder, well, we could pay more. No, we can't. And you want to get rid of people off of committees that are going to help keep the tax rate down, the tax burden down on the American people? Here's something from Newsmax. GOP infighting. Tea Party purges breakout over fiscal cliff. Republicans in the U.S. Congress attacked each other earlier today over their leadership's fiscal cliff offer to Democratic President Barack Obama as a group of governors visited the White House to voice concern about the impact on states of the year-end tax and spending deadline. Tax and spend. See, that's the whole point. I don't know, what part are you people missing on tax and spend? You know, there's way too much spending. There's no amount of taxing that we're going to be able to do that's going to pay for the amount of spending that we're doing and have done. We're going to have to be responsible. Oh, there is that R word. Oh my goodness. That R word, that's a terrible word. We got to be responsible. Democrats don't even, liberal socialists do not know what responsible is. Oh, sure, they think, yeah, it's a good thing to take care of people. I mean, we've gotten people that are so twisted around in their thinking that they now believe that there are a growing number of Americans that believe the free enterprise system is the cause of all of our ills, that socialism and communism, even though it's failed everywhere it's been tried in man's history, it's still the way to go. Why? Because those other countries in the past didn't have the smart ones that we have in Congress today. Like, oh, you mean like Nancy Pelosi? We've got to well, yeah, maybe Nancy is kind of smart. We've got to pass the bill in order to find out what's in it. Yet we're still finding out what's in it, even though it was passed over 2 years ago. And we're not going to know all of what's in it until what, 2016? Oh, yeah, because then Obama will be leaving office. Well, unless he, does a Morsi in Egypt and declares himself potentate of the United States. I don't think that would go down well. Well, they're going to... I don't want to get off in the conspiracy theorists and the end of days of the United States type of stuff, but, just keep, as a side note, just remember this. When they really, on the federal level, start making gun ownership illegal for law-abiding citizens, and they start confiscating firearms, then you know that the hammer's about to fall. And when I mean hammer, I do mean hammer, because it'll be followed by the sickle. And the hammer and sickle will replace the stars and the stars of the Stars and Stripes. Don't doubt me. But at that particular point, there will be people. It'll be a bloody mess, because there is way too many people that will not give up their firearms, not willingly. And I don't blame them. I would be one of them. Because, a citizen without a way to defend themselves from their own government is not a citizen. They are a subject. Think of the former Soviet Union, the USSR. Those people were not citizens of the USSR. They were subjects of the USSR. Red China. Those people were not citizens of the People's Republic of China. They were subjects of the People's Republic of China. Of the Cubans. Those people are not the citizens of the little island country of Cuba. They were subjects of Fidel Castro. Now, let me tell you something. There are too many people in this country that will not be the subjects to anyone, let alone our current government. Yeah, folks, it's better to get a little bit so-called figuratively bloody